And I kept having clients come to me and go, hey, Michael, could you build us an e-commerce website bespoke? And I'm like, yeah, I mean, I'll take you $250,000 to do it, but Shopify? Why aren't you using that? Or BigCommerce or Wix or whatever, right? Why are you going to put $250,000 into building a bespoke platform? And the answer that came back was really interesting. The front end's not the problem. That's a solved problem. The problem is...
Hey everyone, I'm Scott Branley, and I'm here with my co-host, DJ Sprague, and our special guest, Mikel Lindsaar. Michael, welcome to the show, man.
G'day. Thanks, Scott. Good to be here.
We're excited to have you.
And g'day is a traditional Australian hello, by the way, as your viewers will probably know. But yes.
Got it.
Oh yeah, I've watched Dumb and Dumber a lot. I know what g'day means.
Nice.
It's on perpetual rewind here. It's looping.
Right. It's your role model.
Yeah.
Right?
Good time, Mike.
Especially the tug on the ice lift thing. Yeah.
So I get the honor to introduce you. Mikel Lindsaar is the CEO and founder of StoreConnect, a Salesforce Partner Innovation Award recipient. Mikel is a serial technology entrepreneur, having successfully built and sold 4 SaaS companies within the last decade, which is a great story. StoreConnect has one goal: to help businesses become scalable customer commerce companies powered by Salesforce. So the thing that really caught our eye is 4 exits. Tell us about that. How do you get ready for an exit, and how do you optimize your company to get maximum revenue on sale, Michael?
Well, I mean, the first thing is have something you can sell. It's really interesting. A lot of people that I talk to ask me, how did you sell your business? Like, how did you find a buyer? And, one of the things that I've found is there are a lot of buyers out there that want to buy businesses. They exist. But like anything, your business has to be something that can be purchased, right? So I focused on creating products that I would want to buy, like I would want to own and look after and build. And the more work you can do really around creating systems, making sure that your accounting's correct, focusing on processes and stuff like that. It's like you have to make your product purchasable, and you have to make that business purchasable. If you're running a website and you're selling a car, and if you bought the car off the sales agent, and every day you had to call the sales guy to ask how to turn the car on, or what that noise is coming from the back right-hand corner, or why is one wheel missing? And like, if you had to ask that question every single day after you bought the car, you wouldn't buy the car, right? It's the same in a business. A lot of business owners underestimate how much knowledge they have in their head around their business, and then expect someone's going to come along and just buy it and somehow glean that knowledge out of them, right? The most valuable businesses out there are ones that have systems and processes in place to handle 90% of the things that happen. You're never going to get a process for 100%. That's pipe dream. But you want to have those systems in place. You want to have not a lot of, intercompany random transfers going on between you and the business, or you and another business, or things like this. You just want to make it an entity that can be purchased, really. That's probably the most important thing that I found.
Repeatable.
Did you go in knowing that you were going to sell it? So did you build systems and processes in place from the beginning, or did you build those in over time?
I built them in over time on pretty much all of them. I was building products because these were all SaaS companies, to be clear. So I was building products that scratched my own itch, except for one of them, which was Flood.io. When we sold that, I went into partnership with a friend of mine. We both decided to build this thing. We thought it could scale. And we both sort of agreed up front that if someone comes along and says, I want that we would sell it. Like we had that decision in place. But we were never really building it for the sole purpose of selling it. Because if you think about it, there's a lot of culture that goes into building a successful business. And if your culture is, we're trying to sell the company, that pervades the company, right?
Yeah.
You want the culture to be, we're producing the best product possible. And again, this comes down to, if you do want to sell it, you can have that as a purpose, but it's not really your company's purpose. The company's purpose isn't to be bought. Your company's purpose is to provide the best service possible, or the best product possible, to your customers, and building that customer relationship. The cool thing about that, though, is if you do build that customer relationship and you do really focus on that, and you create that customer commerce experience, that's, why I'm really focused on this area, you will get a more valuable return when you go to sell the business anyway, right? So there's sort of self-fulfilling prophecies in that if you build a business to scale, if you build a business to be successful with processes, you are also, by definition, pretty much building a business that's easy to sell and will get great returns on it. So, yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah, that's cool. So you and I and DJ too, like we're idea guys. And you've obviously had a lot of good ideas. Some of those have turned into exits. Now, the reason why we connected was because of your latest idea, right? Which is StoreConnect. So if I was to explain it, and maybe tell me if I'm wrong here, but essentially you built an e-commerce platform on top of Salesforce. Is that how you would explain it?
Yeah. It's been really hard to explain what StoreConnect is to a lot of people until one of my clients said to me, the thing I love about StoreConnect, it's the best bits of WordPress and Shopify built within Salesforce. And I went, oh, that's perfect. I wish I could use that as a tagline for the company though, right? Because they're trademarks. So that is what it is though. So when a client, they have Salesforce, and we chose Salesforce as a CRM because it's by far the most capable out there. It's incredibly powerful. It basically can do everything. You pay for it, but there isn't, what you get what you pay for. And we've built StoreConnect on top of that. So StoreConnect is a full e-commerce platform. It's a full content management system. It's a full point of sale system, multi-currency, multi-region, subscription management, rewards and loyalty purchases, being able to buy things with points and earn points as you're purchasing them. Different price books and different product features for different logged in users and different currencies and different stores. So because we're built on top of that Salesforce platform, it's basically infinitely customizable. So a great example, I was just on the phone. I was actually late to start this podcast by a couple of minutes because I was on the phone to a client who booked in for a half-hour call. They had 7 people on the call and we stayed on that call for an hour and a half because they just kept asking questions. Hey, could you do blah? They were just coming up with spitball ideas that they'd always wanted to do, but they just couldn't do on their current platforms. And my answers kept coming back with, yeah, you could do it this way, or yes, you could do it that way, or almost you'd have to modify it slightly to do it this way. And they were just like so intrigued they could keep extending this platform themselves. And that's been a really powerful feature of StoreConnect and really comes down to the power of Salesforce.
That's fantastic.
You were kind of telling us that they're dealing with 4 different countries, 4 different currencies, and you're able to process all of those in their own currency. That's insane.
So who is your ideal customer? I mean, you've gone from multinationals to a plumbing supply.
Small business.
Small business.
This was a funny story. When we first started StoreConnect, I think our first 50 clients did not share the same industry or profile. Like it was just, I didn't even recognize that there were 50 possible, industries that did e-commerce, right? But it was really interesting. Our ideal customer profile is less around the industry and more about the capability that they're after. And what do I mean by that is Salesforce gives them the capability of doing a lot of business process automation on the orders and the records that are coming through the system. So the clients that love StoreConnect want to be able to modify StoreConnect to suit their business. So a lot of traditional e-commerce products out there have a way of doing something and you sort of have to modify your business to match that. And if you don't, you're in a world of hurt because things keep just going wrong. StoreConnect with Salesforce lets you go the other way, right? So we let you modify the way the product runs to suit what your business needs. Little things like during checkout, I need to do a third-party verification because this person needs a certain government license in order to buy this. You can just build that into StoreConnect without a plugin. You just create it. So these sorts of things are much more capable. And we generally need a little bit more of a tech-savvy type client because it's so customizable. It's sort of like a massive bag of Lego. You can build whatever you want if you know how to build it, right? But if you don't, you're going to be stepping on bits of Lego all over the joint and hurting your feet in the middle of the night. So we work with a lot of partners and, we've signed up over 100 Salesforce SI partners over the past 2 years to sell and install StoreConnect. So we've got a very deep capability there. But as I said, our ideal clients are multinational or multi-brand companies who are selling in multiple countries or selling different brands. But because of the nature of the product, we also work really well with small businesses that want to scale. Like Beyond Plumbing, one of their quotes, the one you mentioned on the website, Rick said one of the things he loves about it is there's no point in the future that they can foresee where they're going to have to re-platform, right? So that they started on StoreConnect at a very cheap rate, less than I think it was like $700 or $800 a month all in, Salesforce, everything. But now, they're a multi-million-dollar company. They're not having to re-platform to StoreConnect Plus or StoreConnect Advanced, or they're not having to replace their CRM and, all of this. They can just keep growing. And that was the thing that he loved about it, because they knew that they wanted to scale from day one.
That's an incredible USP because so many companies start out on a basic platform and then they grow, or they go into other countries and other currencies, or they go into, different industries, and all of a sudden they have to re-platform, which is very expensive, very time consuming. And they usually lose a lot of
And the exact thing that you don't want to be doing when you're experiencing massive growth.
Exactly.
We had one of our clients who were doing 3,000 orders a month just on a growth point. And they put rapid antigen tests online for sale when people were queuing outside of pharmacies in Australia to buy them. They did 36,000 orders in a day and a half. So they did their entire year's volume in a day and a half.
Oh
and
my
StoreConnect and Salesforce just handled it, scaled down on the other end. Not a single dropped order. It's this sort of thing where you don't know you need it until you're at that holy hell, what's going to happen stage. Mm-hmm. And that's not when you want to find out that you need it. And just speaking to your point.
So is that why you chose Salesforce as the basic platform? Is the total flexibility, scalability, that's customizable?
Right. Yeah. And, it's completely customizable. Like one of my clients said to me a couple of weeks ago, they go, we want to put the birth date on our contact, right? And allow them to set that because we want to send them a gift and we want to display it on their contact page. Now, most e-commerce products, if it doesn't have birthday there, well, that's it. You're stuck. You got to go take some other field and sort of jerry-rig it and use that instead. And now you've got wrong data in the system and you have to remember that you've done that. Well, with StoreConnect, you just go and add the birthday field in Salesforce. You make it a date field. And then on the contact page, you just tell it to show it. And that's that. Then whenever that changes, it's going to save directly into that direct field, which means you can have validations on it. You can do triggers on it, all that sort of stuff. So this intense customizability. When I first started StoreConnect, actually, the origin story probably explains why I built it on StoreConnect. And I was running a software business that built software for other companies, like a software consulting company. And I kept having clients come to me and go, hey, Michael, could you build us an e-commerce website bespoke? And I'm like, yeah, I'll take your $250,000 to do it, but Shopify? Like, what? Why aren't you using that? Yeah. Or BigCommerce or Wix or whatever, right? Why are you going to put $250,000 into building a bespoke platform? And the answer that came back was really interesting. It's not the front end's not the problem. That's a solved problem. The problem is the back end, like what I was saying. They had to modify their business to suit the e-commerce platform. They wanted to have something that worked for them and allowed them to grow their business and their business process. And at the time, we were doing a lot of Salesforce work, connected web apps. And I went, what if I built Shopify on top of Salesforce? That's $1 billion idea. And here we are.
That's awesome. Because we've had to re-platform several times over the years.
I'm sorry.
And we got to the point where we couldn't anymore. Yeah. So we had to build our own systems. And it's a nightmare,
that's insane expensive. I run a software development agency and I still get blown away by how much it costs to build software.
Yeah. And we've gone down the road where we needed something, and so we built it. And $1 million later, we're like, "Oh crap, this isn't going to work."
Yeah. And then what do you do?
We had to eat $1 million and a year of time to build the stupid thing, and then we went back to square one. And we're like, "This sucks."
Yeah, I've actually done a number of podcasts where during the podcast, the hosts go, "Could I use StoreConnect?" Like it's a really interesting product like that because it's, fundamentally what it means is that your entire website can be live updated according to what's happening in your Salesforce org, right? So, if you have a product you're selling on your website or, even something simple like you write a blog post and halfway down the blog post, you want a call to action to buy the product that you're referring in the blog post. Or with StoreConnect, you just write a line that goes, include product in the blog post. You just set it there. Or you set it as part of the template, so it's automatic. But in 2 years' time, when you stop offering that product and you discontinue it, in StoreConnect, it will just update that article and now that product won't show anymore. Or next week when that product's on sale, you don't have to remember to go and change it in that article because it's live included, right? It's little stuff like this that compounds the time saving in the company. and really ends up in a situation where instead of 4 staff, you have 1 person for 1 hour a day.
Love it. Real scale. So who shouldn't use StoreConnect? Is there anybody that is not an ideal customer?
People that don't want to learn Salesforce. You have to want to get some of that technological knowledge under your belt, and you really want to scale. So if you're a company and you're a solo maker and you build some things, or you're a small business and you're at the size that you want to be, you don't really want to grow, you don't really want to scale, there wouldn't be any point paying the money to migrate to StoreConnect, because you only really see the benefits of StoreConnect as you start to scale those business processes and scale, your customer commerce experience, knowing who your customer is and what they've purchased and how you're going to market to them and things like that. The other types of businesses that wouldn't really work well on StoreConnect are ones that aren't willing to move their source of truth into Salesforce, right? You don't have to be on Salesforce. About half of our clients were not previously on Salesforce when they came to StoreConnect, which means Salesforce loves us, right? Because we keep bringing them new customers. But you have to be willing to do a bit of a business transformation in that aspect of, okay, we're actually going to get serious about our CRM. We're going to get that data up to date. We're going to get that correct. We're going to now maintain that. We're going to build out correctly and go from there. So that would sort of be the 2 categories. If you're happy with your business and where it is, it's going okay, you've got predictable scale, you're not really looking at opening multiple countries and things, fine. If you're looking at that in a couple of years, maybe you want to do that now so that you're ready for it. Or, you don't really have the desire to re-platform into Salesforce from whatever, Google Empire, Google Sheet Empire you have, or HubSpot, or whatever else you're using.
What about hyper-personalization and AI? Those are 2 big buzzwords now, obviously going to 25. Topic. Everybody's talking about hyper-personalization and how to leverage AI. How's that going to happen in your product combined with Salesforce?
Yeah, so one of the very, very cool things about StoreConnect, and one of the intended consequences of choosing Salesforce, is that as Salesforce release new stuff, we sort of get it for free. So Agentforce, which is coming out by Salesforce right now, it's a very highly local data sourced AI. They've really put a lot of work into the trust aspect of it and the client personalization aspect of it, and only referencing the data within your own org with their, customized retrieval, augmented generation type stuff. They have released that feature, and that just works on StoreConnect, right? So we've suddenly gained that capability, which this $40 billion a year company has just developed. All of our clients now get access to it, right? With basically no development cost from us. So that's been awesome. We are planning to add some additional features around that. So for example, generative fill on images and things like this. We can do integrations directly with our CDN provider that we provide as part of StoreConnect out of the box. That will be coming next year. So, these sorts of AI tools and expansions that are coming, in many cases, our clients can just use them straight away. In terms of the hyper-personalization, there's quite a few ways that we can do that. So first off, if the customer's actually logged in, StoreConnect has full access to the entire purchasing history within Salesforce. So you can create widgets and boxes and, people that bought this, and you can create and pre-generate those rules and algorithms within Salesforce. So you could have a task that runs every day or every week that does lookalikes and goes, these clients who bought these products also bought these products. So anyone that hasn't bought this product, add these to their product selection. So next time they log in, that's going to be front and center. So all of that's possible with just some simple Salesforce programming and coding. Or if they're using things like Marketing Cloud or some of the other Salesforce marketing products or personalization products, or even non-Salesforce personalization products. Because with StoreConnect, you have access from the opening HTML tag of your website. You can put whatever JavaScript or any marketing tools you want in there to use your favorite tool, right? It doesn't have to be Salesforce either. So we really open up a lot of capability there for clients to explore what they want to do and actually use the things that they want to do.
Well, this has been fascinating. So we'd like to end with a particular question. So Mikel, the $1 million question. As an e-commerce app integration expert, what's the one actionable strategy that you think could have the biggest impact on e-commerce brands right now?
For me, it's shifting the idea from everything's a transaction to everything's a customer relationship building opportunity. So I'm writing this book, Customer Commerce, and one of the aspects that's come out of that is over the past thousands of years or hundreds of years, especially in the last maybe 5 decades, commerce experience has shifted from you walk into the store and Frank knows you by name, knows what you like to buy, and says, "Hey, DJ, you bought that steak last week. We have this really awesome pork chop that I think you're going to love," and recommends it to you, and you get that and you have that customer relationship, right? And I think a lot of e-commerce companies are trying to optimize away the customer relationship, and I think that's a mistake. The superpower that a small business has is their ability to form a relationship with their customers. And when you look at the research, people will come back to you if they feel they have a connection in that customer relationship. And instead of trying to attract repeat buyers with discounts or all of this sort of thing, instead use that personalization to recommend something to that client that they actually need. Here's a great example. If you're a bike shop and Scott came along last year or 2 years ago and bought a bike for a 4-year-old, 2 years later, he's probably in the market for a bike for a 6-year-old. Kids grow at a known rate. Like it's not random. So you could very easily, I mean, StoreConnect absolutely could do this out of the box, but you could very easily get a list of all the people that bought a 4-year-old bike and 2 years later send them a message saying, "Hey, Scott, you're a fantastic customer of ours. Just letting you know, we have a discount or free shipping or free fitting or whatever on 6-year-old bikes. Don't know if you're in the market." And you send it a month before the last time they bought it. This sort of thing, then you're starting to build a relationship with this person, because what are you going to do in 2 more years?
Yeah.
Send them the 8-year-old bike, right? And you become part of their journey. Or sending Scott an email a year after he's bought the bike and said, "Hey, we've got a special on. I don't know if you've got any action photos about your kid or the person you bought the bike for. Tell us, share it on Facebook." So building this relationship, I think, is the number one thing that e-commerce companies are trying to optimize away and try and replace it with discounting. The problem with that, you will always fail because Amazon will always do it cheaper.
Yeah. Race to the bottom. Yeah. Sure death. Well, have a fantastic day. And thanks again for joining us. And Mikel, once again, thanks for being a fantastic guest.
Thank you for having me.